north, Roman impostors, led by Tetricus, grow ever stronger. To the east, the usurper Queen Zenobia marches her armies into our lands. This is unacceptable. Give us an emperor from humble beginnings. Give us a leader our armies will follow. Give us Emperor Aurelian.
Hello, Legion. This is Hadrian. Thank you for being here. Let's play Total War Rome 2. Oh, yes, channel veterans. Oh, it's happening. And just to keep it simple, let's call it Empire Divided Palmyra. I am beyond excited and a little nervous to be playing Rome 2 again. I haven't played a series in Rome 2 since my very first YouTube series ever, a little grand campaign from 2 years ago called Roman Ascension, back when the channel wasn't officially a channel. Episodes were just 15 minutes long and Roman grand campaigns took 200 episodes. I'm not kidding. So this new series is kind of a big deal, not only because of that, but because the Empire Divided and Power and Politics updates have been released, marking the first major updates to historical Total War since Warhammer. Aside from the Saga's announcement. Anyway, and that's coming. But hooray, right? Finally, history gets some fresh attention like so many of us have been waiting for. Those of you who have been around the channel since Warhammer 1 launched may remember that I just never quite fully got into it, and so have avoided that content space on the channel. I might eventually buy into it, you never know, I might just be really late to the game, but for now I've avoided it in favor of Civilization 6 and waiting for a new historical release in Total War, and the time has come to bring us home at last. I'm not going to do any patch coverage or overview of the changes. I really don't have a whole lot more intro for you here because it's been a long time since I've even played Total War. I've been playing a lot of Civilization, I've been playing some Paradox titles. I'm going to be really rusty. I am not going to remember everything. There will almost certainly be mistakes, and I am going to be playing on normal difficulty for that reason while I get my feet wet and reintroduce myself to this title and this content space. So this is going to be a classic type of series for the channel. Historical, grand narrative, casual play, blind campaign too, because I haven't played Empire Divided much yet, as Zenobia of Palmyra. I'm going to take my time with this, especially in the beginning, and if you're one of my regular Civilization viewers, for instance, I'm going to do what I can to kind of introduce you to what you're seeing on the screen so you can follow and enjoy the story of this campaign as you have in the past. And of course, feel free to ask questions in the comments as well. We're going to go for the primary victory conditions and then see where to take the series from there. I'll be auto-resolving lopsided battles in the grand campaign. This is what I usually do in Total War series just to make sure that the series keeps moving at a fresh pace and we don't see repetitive battles. So if I feel like what we're about to watch is either lopsided or something we've seen a bunch of times already, we will go ahead and skip that battle and just let the AI auto-resolve it and stick to map gameplay so we can keep the series moving. And we're definitely going to be going a little bit slowly here in the beginning while I reacquaint myself with old mechanics and introduce myself and you to new mechanics. So you saw the intro cinematic there and how that sets the stage for this conflict in this period of the Roman Empire's history. We're obviously not playing as Aurelian, even though the intro really focused on him. We're playing as Zenobia of Palmyra. Let's go ahead and jump into the new campaign and see what we've got here. Go to Empire Divided. We are playing as a divided Roman Empire faction. Following the death of Emperor Alexander Severus, the Roman Empire has fallen into deep crisis. Its generals conspire and fight amongst themselves, while its outer provinces, starved of the resources necessary to defend themselves adequately, have fallen prey to barbarian raids and the resurgent might of the new Persian Empire, the Sassanids, which you can also, I believe, play as. Yes, you can. During this chaos, Rome's western provinces have seceded and formed a separate state, whilst in the east, a new kingdom, one that aspires to become an empire, has arisen around the city of Palmyra, that's us, in the Syrian desert. Infested with bandits and racked by civil war, the Roman Empire has never come so close to collapse. We are, because we're a divided Roman Empire faction, we're defenders of civilization. We have 15% morale extra for all units during battles in our own territory or allied territory. So when we are fighting in territory that belongs to us, we get a nice little bonus, and we last a little bit longer, have a little bit more heart in combat. We are a true Rome faction as well, which basically means we have a penalty with other true Rome factions, these other ones like Gallic Rome and Rome itself. So Roman factions share a major diplomatic penalty with other Roman factions. That's what that is. So Palmyra, we're going to shift things down to normal difficulty. Again, I normally like to play Total War games around the hard level. Very hard and legendary tend to get a little bonus heavy on the AI side. So, you know, as far as that nice balance that I always go for of like enjoyability, but also challenge, hard is what I normally like to go for. But we're going to go on normal just while I kind of get my feet wet with Total War again. Let's look at Palmyra and then jump in. As Rome was weakened by internal strife, Shapur I of Persia saw his chance and marched upon the eastern Roman provinces. From the state of Palmyra rose a leader, Odenathus, who repelled the Persian forces and consolidated the east in the name of Rome, but at the price of styling himself king. He was succeeded by his son, Vaballathus, a boy of 10. However, the true ruler was the regent Queen Zenobia. Sounds a little bit like Game of Thrones. So hopefully Vaballathus was better than he who shall not be named, who aspired to imperial ambitions. Enlightened ruler, plus 20% research rate as Zenobia. That's insane. And then piety, -4 banditry for each cult building, all regions. So we basically need to build cult buildings so that we have more, or we have less banditry in our provinces. So that's something to focus on as Palmyra. Victory conditions. We have military victory. Looks like we have to control Latium. So that's right here. Palmyra, Pannonia, which is here, Gallia, which is here. So it actually wants us to go out and conquer a lot of territory, and Africa as well, which is down here where Alexandria is. So we pretty much have to reunite the Roman Empire and completely control all of those. We've got to maintain a good number of units, naval units. The following faction must have no more territorial forces on the map, Gallic Rome or Rome. So we have to defeat the other true Rome factions as well as controlling that territory. And then there's the economic victory. So we can control some territory here if we want to have direct ownership or ownership through client states. It doesn't matter as long as we control the following 6 provinces and that number of settlements. We have to maintain that many units, trade relations. Anyway, we'll go more over the victory conditions once we jump into the game. Campaign settings, I think we're good. I don't want a battle time limit. I don't want battle realism. Show AI player moves. I do want to see some of those. So let's say limited. And then advisor help, none. Let's get started.
The great Odenathus of Palmyra is dead, yet his legacy lives on. Be quick and march into Egypt, for the fertile lands of the Nile can feed our entire populace. For now, your southern border is safe, as Nabateans and Lakhmids offer their goods and friendship. To the east, the Sassanids and their satrapies carefully observe your every move, yet have kept their weapons sheathed thus far. Meanwhile, Roman forces at Galatia, fearing Palmyra and her growing might, stand ready to declare war. Your position is precarious, yet under your ambitious rule, Palmyra shall prosper.
Okay, so that's that. Here's our first objective. After assuming power, Zenobia's armies converged in the west and the fertile lands around the Nile. Not only was Aegyptos a rich province in its own right, but the grain it produced fed the great city of Rome itself. So we basically need to go for Egypt as soon as possible. And it doesn't seem that we have a time limit on this, but we will get some money for holding the entirety of the Egypt province. Troubled times. In recent years, the whole world has been torn by wars and strife. The weakening of the Roman Empire has given rise to banditry everywhere. Trade between settlements has become almost impossible. Standing armies and outposts can help increase the safety of provinces, while certain reforms can make settlements more self-sufficient. With cities being overcrowded, squalor has become a serious issue. If we are to avoid an outbreak of plague, we have to find ways to reduce squalor, such as sanitation buildings and reforms. Accept. All right, so it is 270 AD. We've got Zenobia right here. We need to go ahead and recruit some additional units, I'm sure. But before we do that, let's just take a minute and really look at where we are in the beginning here. This is Palmyra, our capital. And then we also control, looks like, the province of Syria, Judea, a little bit of Nabatea. And there's a single faction here. It might be worth... I might need to take a look at them and see what their allegiance is, because if they're not a satrapy of anyone, I might be able to go ahead and take this territory off the bat and have some additional territory before I charge in on Alexandria. But there's also an argument to be made for moving as quickly as possible, because the game kind of seems to want me to do that. So that's where we are territory-wise. Again, it's 270 AD. We have 11,000 in our treasury, 1978 per turn income. And we've got some construction, some research to do. Also, the major update that we've seen in Total War, here's a spy up here. Let's actually take a look at what we have unit-wise really quickly. So we have one spy all the way up here. I might send her, looks like this is Galatia. So this is a Roman pretender faction, right? Because we have, yeah, Gallic Rome up here. So that's not to be confused with Galatia, which is over here. So this is actually a couple of different factions. This is Lydia and Galatia here. And we also have Armenia over here. So we need to take a look at what factions we can conquer. We might use that spy on one of these factions up here, so we'll keep them there for now. We do have an army in Aelia Capitolina. And then we have this fleet here. Let's go ahead and put you in Salamis. How about that? Don't need to do anything with the fleet just yet. All right, so we have Zenobia down here. Evidently, they've kind of, they have Zenobia set up as like an immortal kind of, not immortal, she'll die eventually, I'm sure, but like in battle, she can't be killed. She's kind of an epic ruler the same way they have in Warhammer. Again, haven't played a lot of Warhammer, but they have, taken a few pages from that game's successes in this patch, for sure. So we have an army actually in Palmyra. What kind of units can we recruit? Oh, wow. Not really good recruitment options in our capital. Wonder why that is. We need 7 population surplus. We only have 4 right now, so it's going to be a while before we can even add to the capital. Interesting. So some of our other cities must be our main recruitment centers. So, and then we, of course, control Nabatea, which is the city of Petra in modern-day Jordan, of course. So, yeah, so here's Judea. Here's Mesopotamia. We control Edessa. Again, one little province in Mesopotamia right there. The rest of Mesopotamia is here and is controlled by the Sassanids. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and take a look at the diplomatic map mode. Who are you, specifically? Nabatea is actually not controlled. They're not at war with anyone. They're not a satrapy of anyone. They're not a client state of anyone. We could conquer them probably pretty easily. We have a pretty good relationship with them as well, which is nice to see. Let's see if there's anyone else we can trade with. Not at the moment. Nobody likes us that much. Roman pretenders. So they control all of Rome. And of course, again, there's Gallic Rome up here. There's actual Rome. This is Aurelian. And then down here we have Egypt, which is a client state of Rome. So Rome, again, you can see their client states by looking at the areas of the map that are green right now. Red, of course, are their enemies. So we have a pretty good relationship with Nabatea. The Lochmids are at war with a bunch of people. There's an argument to be made for maybe going for a couple of pieces of territory here at the beginning. I'll take a look at the map in just a second and kind of see what we need to do there. But let's now take a look at some of the biggest changes in power and politics, which is to the actual politics system. Oh, yeah, this screen looks different. So, we are of the House of Odaenathus, and we are currently overlooked. We're not at the bottom, but there's a long way to go to reach the top. So, let's start out like we usually do. I want to secure the loyalty of secure the promotions, rather, of my generals. So, use your influence to promote this character to a higher office. This lowers loyalty for all other parties for 2 turns, and we get additional tax rates in the local province where this character is, and then additional gravitas, loyalty, upkeep for all land units, etc. So it's just a good thing to do to go ahead and knock these out. Let's secure those promotions. They're both military tribunes now. And also, that should have changed. There we go. We're now respected. We have a plus 2% research rate on top of that 20% bonus we're getting as Palmyra. And then 2 public order per turn in all provinces, that tax rate bonus, and morale. So these are the other families. The Latin families, again, they all have traits now. Political parties actually have traits that determine how loyal they are. So they hate Easterners. Latin families are not going to like it if I make treaties with, say, the Sassanids. They're patriots, so -5 loyalty for every enemy army present on player's territory. So they just don't like being invaded. And they're agriculturalist, so a food surplus will make the Latin families more loyal perpetually. That's good to know. The Greek families are diplomats. They get +1 loyalty for every case where the player has more than 100 relations with another faction. 1 loyalty for having less than 100 relations with another faction. Or -1 loyalty for having less than, so that tooltip's not very well formatted. But yeah, they get extra loyalty for basically when we're doing well diplomatically, and they lose loyalty when we're doing poorly. And then hating barbarians. They get -2 loyalty for each barbarian faction with which you have established diplomatic treaties. And then militarist, +2 loyalty for 5 turns for each military victory. Nice. All right, so right now these guys, we have, looks like Imperium level and agriculturalist are helping out their loyalty. The Greek families are a little bit more, a little bit less loyal, rather. So because of the food surplus we have right now, we're getting that bonus there. And then influence-wise, they have 24%, again, right there. And then the Latin families have 25%. You can see that represented as such. We will get pretty nice bonuses when we get to the very next level of influence. So we're going to try and see what we can do there. We are, of course, a kingdom. We can switch to Empire once we have Imperium level 5 and above 65% influence for our ruling party. We can switch to Republic anytime we want. We'll get a nice boost to our civil research on top of a lowered loyalty for all political parties because, again, it's a republic, so political parties have more power. And then, of course, extra public order because it's a republic. People feel like their voices are being heard. There's better public order in general. You're not being as oppressive as, say, an empire. Was there a negative public order bonus for an empire? No, not really. Just a general awesome research rate bonus, extra number of edicts. So it's all positive to be an empire. We just lose the tax rate bonus, so we'll have to make sure we switch to that at the right time. So we're playing as Zenobia, who is Queen Mother. She has extra gravitas per turn. She brings extra influence per turn for our political party. And she's a great leader. She can't be killed, only wounded. There you go. So minus 10% upkeep for all land units and plus 10 morale for all units. And she has one skill. Minus 20% public order penalties due to local presence of foreign cultures in the local province, and negative 10% resistance to foreign occupation. Nice. And of course, she's not married at the moment. Zabdus Septimus is our general in Aelia Capitolina, and Septimius, rather. Zabdus Septimius and Zabai Septimius. They are our generals. We've got a Fides general and a Humanitas general. Oh, cool. So Palmyra is actually growing because he's present. We should keep him there if at all possible. And you... yeah, we can decrease the gravitas of some of these characters if we want to. Is there a particular... I mean, is there one of these factions that I should be worried about? You're militarist. You're agriculturalist, yeah. So this is the trait of their leader, these bottom traits. This guy has a little bit more ambition. I think that's what that lightning bolt is. Right? Yeah. So I probably should go ahead and spread some rumors about this guy, but that would cost a lot of money, and I don't want to do that right now. So we'll keep that in mind as an option later on. Let's take a look at what we can actually do to get started here. So Palmyra, again, is growing as a result of having this general in the province. I think I will go ahead and stack up a few more units. Let's just do one unit for now. We are, I don't think, at war with anyone at the moment. We're at war with... oh, we are at war with Egypt. Interesting. Okay. In that case, let's go down here. We have lots of gold to spend. I want to focus on armies first. And let's go ahead and build up Zenobia's army here. We already have some Palmyrene Legionaries here. It doesn't look like we can train more of those. That's strange. Those are Palmyrene cohorts, so a little bit different. And a little bit weaker. I mean, I could train 3 more of them if I wanted. So we could have 6 in total. I kind of like that idea. Let's do that. So let's train those. And then we do need, it looks like, some cavalry. There's camel cavalry and horse cavalry. We have camel spearmen, camel archers, legionary cavalry, and lanciarii. So the lanciarii might be good. I'm also looking at this is our maintenance cost of keeping these units around. So I don't want to have cavalry that are particularly expensive to start out. So why don't we go ahead and... tell you what, I just want to train what I can each turn. I don't want to queue anything up that's going to take multiple turns. I want to spend my money as I have it on each unit here. So we'll keep you out of training for now, unless I can train a basic unit. No, I can't. That's it. All right, you're training. Why don't I go ahead and add a couple of these guys? These are hillmen. I'm guessing these are kind of the equivalent of just like a mob unit from the base game, right? All right, so that's our initial training. I think this is our only spy, if I'm not mistaken. You know, I could go ahead and expand this fleet a little bit. Yeah, let's do that. Of course, the increased maintenance costs are going to be a little bit of a problem, but I will make do. Let's go ahead and send this spy up here and see if we can mess with these cities a little bit. Sabotage. You poison the wells. Nice! Managed to poison the water in the enemy settlement. So, Curia, our spy, has already leveled up. Let's take a look at this. Oh, cool! Look at this skill tree. I haven't seen this before. So you can actually see what skill trees, what skill promotions are coming by starting here. You couldn't see this in the previous versions of Rome 2. That's really, really good news. So, why don't I go ahead... Yeah, we're going to be using her to mess around, so we're going to give her Spy. These are the abilities that really have to do with... They are, right? Yeah, these are the ones that have to do with discovering hidden agents and armies, poisoning the wells, poisoning provisions, really messing with the enemy. So we're going to go with Spy to give her additional cunning and such, and we'll have her keep messing around in that territory up there. Speaking of these units, let's see, which... Taking a look at my income here, which provinces would benefit most? It looks like this province would benefit most from having a diplomat. So let's go ahead and recruit him. And then probably Judea next. But Palmyra needs to be a wealthier faction in general. I feel like we should probably, as much as it's making a little bit less, and so the raw income boost will give us a little bit less money, I feel like this should be where we put our other patricians. So Decimus Lampronius Silas is now there. Also, speaking of units, hang on. Aelia Capitolina, I want to train a champion, Gnaeus Cestius, Decimus Cispius Cornison, ooh, Tiberius Pinarius Dentor, I like that name. Recruit, you're going to support the Queen Mother's unit. And I suppose we can also do, for the army in Palmyra, or maybe the army in Aelia Capitolina, we've already got them selected, we could do an additional unit here. So we'd support both of these units down here in Egypt. Yeah, let's do Decimus Cispius Cornison. We're going to recruit him, and we'll have them support these units next turn. We can't do anything with these guys this turn, but they will be able to help train these armies and make them more powerful going forward. What else can we do? We don't have much more money. Let me go ahead and take a look at research to make sure I don't have to spend anything. We need to unlock the rest of the trees by starting on either military or civics research. We do need civics research pretty soon. The civic boost, though, would be an immediate, 5% research rate boost. Let's do that first. Well, no, let's do that first. Because it's just going to take one turn, and we get the extra experience rank for all recruits. And actually, with that in mind, I'm going to cancel this recruiting, because I'd rather have the extra experience rank come in next turn, and we get a little money back, and we can maybe do more to improve our provinces with this turn's income. I'd rather have that extra experience.
Can I be of assistance?
Again, I'm going to be playing very deliberately for a bit. I'm going to really be finding my way around the interface, and I really encourage you guys, especially if you haven't played Total War in a while, or if you haven't played Total War at all, ask me what you're seeing if there's something that I don't explain. Obviously, you can see the mini-map down here, so you can kind of tell where things are, like what we're looking at, and I can zoom out and see a little bit more of the map. So you probably have an idea where we are in the world, but if there's anything I can clarify, I will be happy to. Just let me know. So let's come down here, and we're going to start looking at where we can expand. Antioch can expand, actually. It might be nice to go ahead and expand this capital city. This is just going to take 4. This would take 1. Yeah, I'll tell you what. Let's go ahead and expand Antioch. And also expand Tarsus. Now, we don't have a food problem here right now, so why don't I go ahead and go for, what are my options? This is new. Procurator's Villa. Lower banditry and a better tax rate. Or religious gathering. Cult. +2 public order, +2 growth per turn, and +2 sanitation. Again, because we're playing as Zenobia. Yeah, -4 banditry for each cult building in all regions. Is that for each cult building across the empire? I'm not sure how to interpret that tooltip. Let me know in the comments if you're clear about how that is. Like, is it for each cult building per region? Or like, if I build a cult building, is it just going to reduce banditry across the entire empire? Because if the latter is the case, holy crap, that's OP. But also right here, notice we can do an aqueduct in Antioch, and that would instantly help with growth and sanitation as well. And there's not... I think we're okay here right now. Why don't I go ahead and... There's a little bit of banditry, so let's go ahead and go for the Procurator's Villa in Tarsus. And then in Antioch, I could do sailors' quarters. I could do a religious gathering if I wanted. Oh, there's already a Christian gathering here, interestingly enough. So I might have some decisions to make. And then we could do a workshop, which will give us access to ballistas. Seems kind of useful to have in Antioch right away, so we can defend ourselves a little better. Is there any reason that I would have to avoid that? Or should I go ahead and go for it? Let's go for it. Alright, so this again is the province of Syria. So we've just basically built everything we can there. And we're going to switch to the province of Judea. Now, if I don't touch anything here, in one... I mean, the city has to grow for a while, but if I don't touch anything, once this number's at 7, which is obviously the very next one, we can actually grow the main city, which is kind of tempting. So I might leave them alone for now. Palmyra can upgrade this. What does this do? Extra growth per turn. Extra food and growth. You know what? Yeah, let's do that. You know, help Palmyra grow a little bit faster. Can't be a bad thing. And we do have to consider whether or not we're going to attack these guys down here, the Nabateans or Nabateans, however you might pronounce it. All right, so I think, no, Aelia Capitolina, I can also, if I wanted to, I could go ahead and, so this would be a free upgrade. They don't like non-Christian temples or cults. This would also take away from the food in the province. And right now we already have a bit of a food shortage here. We don't have a food shortage overall, but we might if we went ahead and built that. The extra army, I'm going to avoid that for now. I think we're just going to wait. See, I'm tempted to go ahead and build, you know what, let's build Salamis. We're still going to wait till Judea reaches 7. We just took away one of the growth points, but now we can build something extra here. So there's no banditry. However, there is a food problem here, so why don't we go ahead and do an additional villa and leave it at that. Anything else? I mean, we still have a good amount of income in our territory, but I'd rather, again, have that extra boost. So I can also recruit some additional agents, I think. Yep, I can recruit one more spy. Let's get one recruited down here in Aelia Capitolina. Yeah, Tarpeia Rutila. So we're going to send her towards Alexandria to see how things look over there, to kind of judge how quickly Zenobia needs to move. All right, it's 270 AD. Wonder how fast the turns move. Is it 4 turns per year, or is it 2 turns per year like vanilla Rome 2? You may still issue an edict. Oh, nice. So, hang on. In one of our entirely controlled provinces. So we have a couple of options there. We can issue an edict in Palmyra, Judea, or Syria. I kind of want to do something to help them grow. Aelia Capitolina sounds like a good idea because we are going to be at war with Egypt most. Antioch is already in really good shape wall-wise. Not so much... Well, so is Aelia Capitolina, but... Yeah, I kind of feel like this is where I want to go ahead and set up an edict. Extra tax rate is tempting as well. Do I want food and public order? Yeah, let's do food and public order, mainly because if we leave that running for a few turns, we'll actually... things will start to improve. Public order right now across the Empire looks like it's pretty average, but once things start to climb and the happiness of these settlements starts to change, we'll have more bonuses to how much money we make from how happy these settlements are. So we might just need to build up for a few turns. Let's go to the next turn. It's summer of 270 AD right now. Feels so good to be playing this again. Research complete. Experienced troops. You've completed a technological advancement giving you an advantage over your rivals. Excellent. Let's go ahead and go for the civics unlock. So again, this is an extra research rate boost on top of what we already get, and minus 30% public order penalties due to presence of foreign cultures. Pretty nice. I'm going to take this. All right. There we go. So he's training the military now. Let's go ahead now and recruit, as we were going to before, some Palmyrene cohorts. And then on top of that, see, here's our veteran. And we were going to train some Lanciarii as well, I think. And we were just going to go with what we can train in one turn, I believe. So let's go back up here and do the same here. I guess I'll go ahead and do 3 of them. No, yeah, fine. Let's do 3. Not too concerned about Legion makeup at the moment. Okay, so here's our patrician. Let's go ahead and have him increase tax rates on this province. See a nice little boost there. I'll turn it off. Oh no, I can't turn it off now, but hopefully you saw it. Nice little jump. Caesarea, I can probably just mess with them again, or I can go over here to Iconium. Poison Wells now has a 60% chance of success. Very good. So we're going to keep messing around with her to the best of our ability. Okay, and we have this guy in Palmyra as well. So again, a little bit of a boost to our income as we start. And then you need to support this army, which we're not training right now, but we will soon. And this spy, we're going to send straight into... Let's send her just across the border to see what she sees. Looks pretty good so far. So we could go ahead and establish a spy network here, which leaves local settlements vulnerable to cunning agent actions. Which means if we had another spy in here, if we brought our other spy down, we could really mess with Alexandria a lot. But for now, we're just going to move in and use her as our eyes. And I think that's all I need to do for now. Well, I didn't mean to click that, but oh well. Tax level is currently normal. Trying to remember. Oh, yeah, tax effects. There we go. So if we lower taxes, there is a public order. There's a public order bonus. There's not a growth bonus like there is in Attila. I think there is a growth bonus, but there is a growth penalty if you raise them. Interestingly enough. Okay, so let's not do too much at once. I'm going to go ahead and go. So it's 270.80 now. It looks like that was just. We just went from summer to summer there, interestingly enough. I can't... Really? Okay, now it's fall, 270, okay. So maybe, I guess it's 4 turns per year by default. I love it. Expanded Royal Court. You have completed a technological advancement, giving you an advantage over your rivals. The rise of cults. These are dark times, and many have turned to the gods for salvation. There has been an influx of new beliefs, some of which have attracted enough followers for cults to start spreading. These gatherings are not without merit, but can also become troublesome over time. You don't say. It is for you to decide whether you will tolerate their presence or drive them away. Cult buildings can now be constructed in your cities. Neato. Alright, so we've trained a few units here. The question is, do we want to keep training for Zenobia's units? Alright, so these guys are ranged units. Yeah, I do want to have an additional cavalry for sure. Maybe that's a good number to have extra as we begin here. And then pretty high maintenance cost on pikemen, unfortunately. Palmyrene spearmen are a little better, but pikemen would be good against enemy cavalry. I'll leave that off for now. We're just going to have an army of 15. Meanwhile, let's take the spy in here and see what she sees. So Alexandria actually has no army in it right now at all. That's very interesting. So we could poison the wells. Good. That means she leveled up as well. So from her doing that, let's give her cunning as well. We're going to use these spies to mess around with these guys at first. If we can take Alexandria early, I'm really surprised to see no troops there yet. Don't get me wrong, I'm thrilled, but it's not what I was expecting. Okay, Antioch, you can train an army. But the thing is, if I trained another army right now, maintenance-wise, we would have a little bit of a problem. So I wouldn't be able to afford building a lot of new stuff per turn. So I think what I'll do here is let's add couple of units to this army. These are Palmyrene Spearmen. Let's just add one more to that unit for now. Again, I don't want to spend more per turn than I need to. Yeah, actually, I meant to rebuild that last turn as well. You know what? With that in mind, let me cancel the order I just gave so I can rebuild that fleet faster, because that's what I meant to do. And I forgot about the fleet. Nice. Okay, so that actually enabled us to train 2 more units there for that one. Okay, am I good elsewhere? Let's go through my units and just make sure. Looks like we are.
As you request.
Okay, so now the question is, do we go for military research first, or do we go for... I feel like military is probably a good idea. We could have military camp ready to train in 1 turn. Oh yeah, let's do that. Because this will give us access to the field engineer's workshop, which I think is an upgrade for the workshop. Yeah, it is. Totally is. So we can have catapults. We can have onagers, like, right away. Yes, please. I would like that to be a thing. Remuneration reforms. You have completed a technological advancement, giving you an advantage over your rivals. And looks like one of our veterans has leveled up. Curia has been discovered. Patrician's leveled up. Patrician's leveled up. Very good. So, yeah, I want you to be able to train these guys. So let's go ahead and give that unit zeal. All right, there is an army now in Alexandria. I wonder what they're doing. All right, so Tarpeia hasn't been discovered. Curia has. Let's see, military sabotage. Let me just poison this army's provisions. Excellent, that spy is now level 3. It is, again, fall 270 AD. Let's go ahead and give her... Yeah, additional chance of discovering hidden agents and armies. Let's do reconnaissance. We're going to build up those abilities to start, and then we're going to continue down the technology tree. Once we get all 3 of these, we will have another +1 experience rank for land unit recruits. That's nice. So let's go ahead and go for skilled shipwrights, and then it'll take 2 turns, it looks like, to research intensified physical conditioning. So these are just additional buildings we can construct. We don't quite have the money for that building yet, but good to know. All right, so Zenobia is done recruiting, unless, of course, I want to train anything else. The question is, do I? So there's some slingers, some skirmishers. We've got some peltasts already. Am I happy with this? Am I ready to march? Do I feel like I can take them on? I'm not sure. That's a pretty big army. I would have to surprise them and use the spy to really harass them a lot, but maybe I do need to add a few more units to this army before we get going. The trouble is, like, if I did, say, Palmyrene Legionary Cavalry, it would be so great to have those, and it looks like Zenobia's unit is Scythed Chariots, so if I do a couple of Palmyrene Legionary Cavalry, yes, let's do a couple of those, just 2, and leave it at that, because they'll be super strong. Alright, nothing going on there. Palmyra's growing pretty fast. Alright, and then you might not have enough money to do anything. Nope, can't do anything, not enough money. Alright. In that case... yeah, you stay there. And let's go to the next turn. Oh yeah, that's right, we have a bunch of units that leveled up. Let's go ahead and promote... Yeah, let's go ahead and do Dignitary. Extra authority and extra chance of critical success in all actions. And then also Decimus Lampronius Silas. Same thing. Because we can move down this tree and get a little bit more money out of our core territories as a result. Now, let's take a quick look at the political situation to ensure there's nothing else we can do. Yeah, see, we actually are about to move up even farther. We're gaining a lot of influence, so... can't secure any more promotions for now. for our family. But we're doing well influence-wise. We're very close to getting the admired bonus, which is nice. Wait, really? Oh, cool. This champion leveled up. So let's go ahead and have him move towards training as well. End turn. Moving into, I think, winter now of, I guess would be 271 AD. Oh, wow. It's actually 2 turns per season, seems like. Sometimes the first turn can be strange, but like, this is really giving us a lot of content. So it's 8 turns per year. Your concealed agent has been found by foreign forces. They are now vulnerable to hostile agents. Tarpeia Rutila. That is our... Oh, hey, it's Christmas! Let us celebrate this day as a feast, not for the sake of this sun, which is beheld by believers as much as by ourselves, but for the sake of him who created the sun. This season, the Christians in your faction celebrate the birth of Christ. All locals, Christian or not, benefit from the festivities. So, we get extra wealth from all commerce and extra public order per turn, which is very good because, again, we want those public order bonuses to build up a little bit. Let's go ahead and use our spies first and foremost and really mess with... Okay, good. How's this army looking? We want to weaken them as much as possible for when we arrive. If they try and march on us, we may try and just have this unit chill out for a bit. All right, let's have Zenobia start moving forward. I want to have her sneak forward so that if they do try to move, we can ambush them and do really well. But... okay, let's see. You, in Aelia Capitolina, don't really need to... I mean, I could recruit a little more here, but... a couple more Palmyrene spearmen, perhaps? Let's do that. Start building that army back up. And then we do need to add 1 more Palmyrene skirmisher, I think, to flesh that out. We'll do more with that army later on. Research-wise, we're going to finish out that part of the tree we're working on. So again, that'll give us additional experience ranks for land units in 2 turns. I will not hold off on recruiting anymore, because it really doesn't make sense in the long term to delay too much with that. Anything else to do this turn? Also approaching my time limit for this episode, I think. Let's go 1 more turn. Go into the winter. I'm running a couple of mods, by the way, a few cosmetic mods. Rome 2 Terrain HD. Hello! Okay, this is unexpected. I was not expecting this, but I'm going to end this episode here because we're about to start a battle and it would extend this episode way too long. But what a great note to end this first episode on. They did march that army out. They were not expecting Zenobia to be there, so now we can annihilate this army as we get started and then take Alexandria in the coming episodes. Maybe even the next one after this battle's over. So I'm going to go ahead and quick save this for sure. But, holy crap. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to follow along. New episodes in Empire Divided Palmyra are going to be coming out every day at noon Eastern Time, which is the same time all of my historical and grand strategy type content comes out. Comments are always welcome. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you next time.